Hey guys, welcome back to Lindy Lou Productions. This is not a video that I thought I would ever have to make, at least not for a really long time. But Lindy is gone. I lost my Lindy, and it's been really hard. She had to be put down on Tuesday afternoon, and today is Sunday. It was a very quick, abrupt, traumatic thing and day, and we still really aren't quite sure what happened to her 100%. Monday night, she started presenting with kind of just like slight lameness, almost like her front left foot. She was dragging her front left foot, and I will show you video right here of what she was doing. The barn owner was the one that sent me that video. She said, Lindy's, just kind of acting a little weird, and so she sent me the video. I asked a bunch of very, horse experienced friends of mine and stuff on Facebook, like what they thought, and we didn't really think that it warranted calling the vet over. She just seemed like she had pulled a muscle running around or trying to get up from laying down or something, and, give her a week or two or so and she'd be back to her normal self. So I just let it go, thinking that's all it was. I get up the next morning, and the barn owner texted me, letting me know that she was way worse and that she was completely staggering and wobbling around. I will show you the video here. And so that obviously warranted an emergency vet call. I instantly bursted into tears because I just knew in my gut that this was not gonna go well and that this was not good. So we rushed over there. My first guess was EPM, which is when horses eat something that possums pooped on, basically, and it contaminates whatever they then eat. So that's what I was maybe thinking it was. So we get there about an hour after, the barn owner sent me that video, by the time, because it was early in the morning, by the time we all got up, we got dressed, I made something for us to eat really quick, we got my son ready, we rushed over there. By the time we got there, Lindy was 10 times worse than just in the video an hour and a half max previously. She could barely walk, and you could have walked up to her and pushed her and knocked her over with one finger. She was pretty much holding herself up on the side of the fence, on the side of the round pen. But the whole entire time, she had eaten her breakfast, she was still trying to eat her hay, she was still very aware of what was going on, and the whole entire thing was just bizarre. So she was in the round pen, and she was trying to walk to me, and her little ears were up. She was trying to walk over to me, and she just crashed, just fell over like a building right in front of me. I mean, the dust literally like blew in my face from her falling over, and I just stood there like, my poor horse, like, what is happening right now? I mean, this is just like, it's not a memory that I want to have of her, but it's there. It's stuck in my head for all eternity. So literally seconds after she fell over, the vet was pulling up. And she walked into the round pen, and her first guess was herpes, or EHV. And, you know, I had heard about this virus, but I didn't really know a whole lot about it. So I didn't realize that there was like a neurological version. There's like an upper respiratory version, which is what the vaccine kind of covers against. But then there's a neurological variant, which the vaccine does not cover. Nothing will save your horse from this. Nothing will prevent your horse from getting this. It's the worst variant of that virus. So, you know, of course, Lindy fell down. We could not get her up. We tried for at least 30-40 minutes to get her to stand up, and her back end was just, she had no way of getting up. It was just paralyzed. So then we tried for an hour or better to get an IV, you know, try to give her some drugs, some sedative to kind of calm her down, and we couldn't even find a vein. She was so dehydrated from not drinking all night that we couldn't get to a vein. So we then had to flip her over. We had to tie ropes to her legs, flip her over, try to get the vein on her other side of her neck. And by that point, she was just deteriorating, just going downhill. And the vet said to me, you know, we need to end this for her. So we finally were able to get into her vein. We gave her a little bit more sedative because she was kind of trying to fight us, like, because the vet was just really like digging around in there trying to find her carotid, which was uncomfortable for Lindy. Every little touch that we would put, she was twitching and jumping. She's just really extra sensitive, her skin and just her nerves, I think. And so I laid over her and kissed her nose and told her that I loved her and that I would see her again someday as they were giving her, you know, the solution. And then I cut off some of her mane hair and we took her shoes off. And I'm going to keep her halter, obviously. It had her name engraved on it. I already bought a shadow box, and I will clean all of this stuff up and make a really nice little memorial for her. And then a man came and he buried her for us with a backhoe. Sorry if this is all kind of gory, but it happened. It's what happened. So I'm just being honest. And then, you know, so I came home Tuesday. I have not cried this much in my life and felt this much loss ever. You know, I've lost kind of distant relatives, I've lost grandparents, but none of them, honestly, and sadly, was I really that close to. So this is the first thing in my life that I have lost that I had such a close relationship and bond with. I owned her 10 years. She was a part of my life on a daily thing for 10 years. And it's like, you just don't forget that overnight. You don't just get over that. But what made it even harder is, you know, I'm mourning her, I'm grieving, and I was just absolutely beside myself all the entire day on Wednesday, the next day after she passed. So that evening, I'm getting ready to go to bed, and I get a call from one of my friends, the girl that I work for on the weekends, and she let me know that there was a horse at a local barn that presented basically the same exact way that Lindy did. They had to euthanize him as well, but right on the spot, the vet pushed for this horse to be tested for EHV and for EPM, and he came back screaming hot on both things. So now we have a boarding barn with a horse that tested positive for EHV. This horse died the day after Lindy did, but their symptoms were happening at the same time. He just was a little bit slower. His didn't go as fast. So then I'm like, okay, well, I started a new job this past weekend at a barn literally across the street from the barn that had this now infected horse. A bunch of people from that barn went to a horse show that weekend, and a bunch of my friends, including the other girl that I work for that called me, were all at this show with their horses, with this person from the infected barn. Even though they didn't know that it was infected yet, they still were there. So I'm just trying to rack my brain how I gave this to Lindy. The only other thing that the vet suggested it could have been is potentially rabies or botulism. Both are very common, well, I should say botulism is fairly common, rabies not necessarily in horses. So all these rumors started going around, and they just were incorrect, and I'm not even going to get into that, okay? But basically, the vets that came the day that I called them for Lindy should have pushed harder to test my horse, and they didn't. The other vets, I was told, didn't really give the client a choice because they felt that because this was a potentially contagious viral problem, that this horse should be tested so that they knew what they were dealing with, end of story. I was not told that. The vet brushed it off like it wasn't even a problem, and so I just trusted her judgment, didn't have my horse tested, we buried her. Now it's too late. She's been in the ground for how many days, and her tissue's no longer viable. It would have been really great to know what she had, not only for my own personal, reasons, just to know what happened, but to potentially save other horses and kind of know that this virus is out there, and know, that the other two horses on that farm, Shadow and Sparky, that you guys saw, whether, she's taking their temperatures twice a day and monitoring them like crazy. But it all is just a crazy thing, and it could be two weird coincidences. Lindy could have been something totally, completely different and unrelated from this other horse. If it is that way, that's nuts that those happened and that I was in that area, and like, what is the coincidence? Like, what is the chances of that even being a possibility? The whole thing, so, I made a post, I just kept hearing all these rumors about what the vet clinic was saying and trying to cover up, basically, that my horse had, so that they didn't get in trouble by the state for not testing her. And it was just breaking my heart, because I thought, I'm struggling enough with the loss of my horse, let alone all of these horrible rumors and just crap being spread around. So I decided to make a Facebook post stating what my experience was, what I went through with my horse, like what my horse went through, what her signs and symptoms were, what went on with the vet. I did not put any names, I did not put any accusations, just the facts. And it blew up. Like, people shared this almost over 200 times. People were calling this vet clinic like left and right. And I got so many comments and messages from people that I didn't even know. They were all local horse people, but just lovely messages, giving their condolences and kind of their experience with stuff, and just trying to lift me up and help me heal a little bit. And it really meant a lot. It meant a lot to me, and that is something, the memory of losing my horse is hard enough, but then the memory of all this just nonsense just made it so much worse. But getting all of those loving messages and stuff, like, honestly, that is, I guess, a good memory, if you want to put it that way, because I felt like people cared and that they were like on my team and like on my side, if you want to word it that way. So, I've been on the phone with quite a few vets and quite a few heads of the agricultural department, yada yada, and it just all kind of came to the same conclusion, that she had been buried too long and her tissue is no longer viable. So bottom line is, the vet's office or the vet of the agricultural department didn't handle the situation correctly. we could potentially, my family, have contracted rabies because that's what they were saying she had. Okay, that's what they all were telling everybody that Lindy had was rabies. My family, if that was true, could have gotten rabies. And they never once told us to all go start getting treatment or getting tested or any of that. Or we could have unknowingly been spreading a very contagious virus to other horses. And since Lindy's passing on Tuesday, I have not gone around a barn or other horses at all. I quit both of my jobs on the weekends already because I'm just not, my heart is so broken. Like, I just like wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy, to have them watch their horse go through that. I mean, even my husband, who, I mean, he's a horse guy, I guess, like he knows them, you know, he's definitely familiar with them, but he can kind of take or leave them. He's not passionate about it like I am. And he was crying right with me, watching her struggle like that, and I'm so glad that he was there with me. My son has been struggling with it. He keeps asking me, you know, why Lindy had to go gone. And it's just very heartbreaking. The whole entire situation is just beyond anything I thought I would ever have to deal with. And honestly, I feel like I've kind of been living in the twilight zone for the past like 6 days. I mean, it's almost been a week since she passed, and I feel like every morning I've been waking up crying. Every evening around 6 o'clock was when I would go and feed her and ride and everything like that, and I get so much anxiety in my chest because I sit here and I hear the birds tweeting outside and I see the sunshine and I know that I'm never gonna see her again. And that's like such a weird, like every time I was ever upset with anything in life, horses were my go-to. Lindy was my go-to. And I don't have that, and all I want to do is just like go to her and like hug her and smell her and like be with her, and I can't do that. She's not there. Of all the ways that I thought she would have died, you know, of old age or you know, arthritis or something, that I knew the day would come, you know, that I would have to put her down. I'm sorry, guys. But I just never thought that it would be something kind of traumatic like this for her and for me. I mean, she didn't know what was happening. She didn't understand what was happening with her body and why she couldn't move it. And, you know, I think she was having trouble swallowing, and like her tongue wasn't working, and like she just had no clue. So I just hope and pray that she knows that I loved her, how much I loved her, and that I was there with her. I just hope that I am able to enjoy horses again. I won't own one for a while. I'm just not ready for like that much responsibility right now, and like worrying about like what vaccines I did or didn't get and what virus it can contract, and like my brain is just not there. And I know, like I said, it's barely been a week since she passed, and like I know I can get through this, and I know that I'm gonna heal, but it's not gonna be overnight, because she just meant so much to me. And like I had a dream Friday night. I had a dream. I woke up at like 5 o'clock in the morning because like I've lost weight. I am not eating, like I'm not sleeping, like I've already lost weight, like it's nuts. Anyway, I woke up Friday morning and I had this dream that like she was in this really big, huge pasture. There was like no fence in sight. And the grass was like up to her belly. She was eating, which if you paid attention at all, you know that Lindy couldn't have grass because she was metabolic and, you know, laminitic and everything. She was up to her belly in grass, just stuff in her face. And she heard me walking towards her and she put her head up and her ears were up and she was looking at me and she came over and we went on this ride down this like really long, flat, straight dirt road. And I just felt like this peace, like that she was telling me like she was okay. And I got to see her one more time and it just like meant the world. And so I woke up and I was like, oh, and I just instantly like laid there and bawled my eyes out. And then the song from Eva Cassidy called Songbird was stuck in my head. And if you read the lyrics, it's just nuts, okay? And I used to call Lindy Lou Bird, Songbird. So that was stuck in my head all day. And I just really feel like that was her definitely sending me a message and confirming that she was good to go, she was watching over me, she loves me, and I've had so many people tell me that in time, Lindy will send me the perfect horse. That will be what will heal my heart. And I really feel that way, and I'm waiting for that day because I think I'll know in my heart when it comes and when is the right one. And I'm gonna probably wait like another week or two, and I'm gonna call that animal communicator. I don't know if you guys remember the video like a couple years ago now, probably three years ago or so. I called a really well-known, really cool animal communicator, and she spoke to Lindy at that point. Obviously she was alive, but she can also speak with past animals, and I'm gonna call her and just talk to her. So if you guys would like to see that and you want me to record it, I will. I can't promise that there's not gonna be lots of tears, but I definitely think that would be kind of something cool to do and just see what she has to say, I guess. Or if that animal communicator can somehow maybe potentially help me with what happened to her. But I've had so many friends and people, like I said, that I don't even know that have messaged me offering their horses for me to come ride and play with and be around, to help me heal and get through this and just kind of use almost as like to heal my heart, but as like a distraction. Because I know that I don't want to just get out of it. I mean, horses they are my heart and they're my life, and they're in my DNA. I mean, that's not something that you just walk away from. So I will be going back to it. I mean, obviously I have kind of certain ones that I've been consistently riding, you know, like Rusty and Harley and Snickers and Chester and all that. So like I definitely would like to go to that barn next week, and a couple of the boarders there also want me to ride their horses. So like I'm still gonna definitely make vlogs and barn vlogs and be riding and stuff, but Lindy will no longer be a part of it. So I know she's in a better place right now. She doesn't have any health problems and she's very loved. So I will be making her a headstone to put where she was buried as well. Yeah, so my whole family's behind me. This has been the toughest week of my life. I've never experienced loss like this. I literally feel lost. But I know that time heals and I will get there. So that's it for this video, guys. I'm sorry it's not a happy one, and I wish I could have brought you something way better and more fun to watch than this, but it's what happened. So I just pray that y'all will stick with me and watch out for some fun videos, you know, to get me through this. I'm not gonna stop. with horses. I know Lindy would not want me to, and I don't want to. So I appreciate you watching, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.
The sun will be shining, 'cause I feel that when I'm with you, it's alright. I know it's right. And the songbirds keep singing like this.
Right over there. See her halter on the thing? Pull her. There we go. Keep walking. Look where you're going. Take her right to that halter on the fence, babe. Stop. Stop. Oh, good job.